All right. Happy Wednesday. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Smart with Your Money Live. I am Chase Peckham, the Director of Community Outreach and Education at the San Diego Financial Literacy Center, the education arm of Debt Wave Credit Counseling. And today, normally we're very lighthearted and when we're discussing these financial things, but today is something that we all can feel when it comes to money decisions that we make, guilt, all those kinds of things, the stress that money can bring us and how to handle that. And today, as always, my cohort and my buddy, Felipe Aravallo, is going to lead us through the different financial decisions and stresses that come our way.
Yeah, absolutely. And if there's any Hispanic moms out there, today is May 10th. So Feliz Dia de la Mamá. That's Happy Mother's Day in Spanish. Financial mistakes and mental health. Today we're going to go over, unlike my normal presentations where I go all of them first and then all the problems and then all the solutions. This one's going to be laid out a little bit different. We got a mistake people make that they regret, and then some solution to fix it or to avoid it, because we haven't made all the financial mistakes yet. So, maybe you're in a situation where you haven't made any of the financial mistakes, and, this is a good way to avoid them. So you'll see the blue font, the mistake, and then in a nice little red font, the solution. But first, financial stress is real and may feel overwhelming. Remember that your finances can be fixed. If you're ever feeling suicidal, help is available 24/7 at the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, which is now 988, not that really long, confusing number that it used to be. I'm not a medical professional, so none of the tips are medical advice. Please don't take them as such. And always consult a doctor or mental health professional when dealing with mental health. Now, money causes stress. It's true. You may have seen this in a previous presentation, but according to the American Psychological Association, Stress in America, the study showed that 60% of Americans reported that money was the cause of stress. It's a real thing. Let's not pretend like it's not. It is. And there's things you could do along the way to try and reduce that stress. I'll go over some of them today. But it's true, and it's a stress causer for us here in America, and I think throughout the world. I don't think we're alone in this category.
Most definitely not.
So this is according to Southern New Hampshire University, because again, I'm not a doctor or a scientist. Engaging in self-care routinely has been clinically proven to reduce or eliminate anxiety, depression, reduce stress, improve concentration, minimize frustration and anger, increase happiness, improve energy, and more. From a physical health perspective, self-care has been clinically proven to reduce heart disease, stroke, and cancer. Spiritually, it may help us keep in tune with our higher power as we realize our meaning in life. Basically, you're going to follow Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the whole triangle. That's according to Southern New Hampshire University, again, because I'm not a scientist. I did take a biology class in college and an astronomy class. That doesn't qualify me as a scientist. So, keep that in mind. And you may have seen this. There's a whole Swim Live. Go back a couple videos. And we did a whole presentation on budget-friendly self-care tips and tricks. So you can go back and watch that or watch it after you leave here. It's on YouTube. So we'll keep going from there. Some common financial mistakes. We're human. We all make mistakes. I'm sure even Patrick Dempsey makes mistakes. And I watch Grey's Anatomy, so they made a lot of mistakes in there. But, we're all flawed. We all make mistakes. We're going to make more, I'm sure. So we'll go over some common financial mistakes, and then we'll go over all the different ways to kind of fix each one of the financial mistakes. So yes, I think in the show he would say it's a great day to save lives. I'm just gonna say it's a great day to avoid financial mistakes. Yes, my wife is a big Grey's Anatomy fan, so I've watched it all the way through.
They're doing something right. 20-some seasons.
Yeah, Shonda Rhimes really knocked it out the park with that one for it to still be going. And I've watched every episode multiple times, more times than I'm willing to admit on a recorded line. Credit card debt, that's a big one. And if you could start doing tricks with your credit cards, like bouncing them off the table to swipe them, first of all, that's kind of cool. But second of all, maybe you use your credit card too much, and you may have too much free time. But credit card debt happens, and if you want, we'll go over maybe the last presentation on the different debt management plans and maybe ways to get out of credit card debt. I know we had another one before, but credit card debt can be a source of stress. I know, I've done it, and it's easy to swipe up and rack up credit card debt. Paying it off is not as fun. That debt payoff journey is a tough one.
Yes.
And how do you fix that? Sorry if my voice goes away. I didn't realize how bad it was. But budget and payoff. Come up with a payoff plan. Don't make minimum payments. That gets really expensive and it takes forever to pay stuff off. Set up a budget. Pick your payoff plan, whether you're doing it yourself through the snowball or avalanche method or all the different, again, you can go watch some more swim lives on those, or you're doing a debt management plan and getting those interest rates down so you can, pay off your debts faster. You're not spinning your wheels. Come up with a budget and come up with a plan to pay off the credit card. It's that relieving. I have a friend recently texted me, hey man, paid off my credit cards. I was like, wow, congratulations. And it's just like, yeah, I don't even know what to do.
Feels freeing, right?
Yeah, it's like a whole cool feeling. Anyone who's paid off and finished a debt payoff journey knows that feeling. It's like, I could breathe.
Yeah.
So budget and pay off the plan. Failing to start investing early. Maybe you watch Forrest Gump and you didn't take Tom Hanks' financial advice, which in this case would have been good. And invested in Apple when the movie came out. There's like a whole bunch of articles on how much money you would have had you invested like $1,000 when Forrest Gump did. You fail to start investing early. The best way to combat that is start now, so that 10 years down the road, you're not thinking, man, I should have started in 2023. Talk to a financial planner, know your risks, know what you're saving for, and start now.
Financial advice, but that doesn't mean that you all of a sudden have to go feel like you got to navigate your way through the stock market. This is if like you're offered a retirement plan through work, whatever it might be, whether it's like a 401k or something like that. It's start that now when there, especially if that company is matching at a certain percentage, then that's free money.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to do it, but don't be scared of it. Don't be like, oh, I don't know anything about, I don't want to pick and buy into that. I don't really do that either. So don't worry about that. It's just more of just get started now.
You don't have to become Warren Buffett to go ahead and start investing.
Right.
And even if you did want to invest on your own today with the apps, the Robinhoods, Acorns, those kinds of things, you could start a little investment account on your own with $5 or $10 and just kind of throw a little bit of money in there while you kind of learn. Not your main investment by any means, but you can kind of play around with it and get creative.
Yeah.
Sometimes people get themselves in financial trouble for trusting the wrong people. You fall victim to scams, or you fall victim to, this just seems like a dangerous trust fall to begin with. It seemed like a bad idea. There's some really good gifts for this one. They look too painful though. So trusting the wrong people. Sometimes you fall into scams. We've done a love scam swim live, which you can go back and watch. We've done other scams. There's elderly scams, but then I had a high school class. One of the kids told me the other day, he's like, oh, but old people fall for scams, right? No, it's not just old people. It's young people. It's wealthy people. It's poor people. It's everything in between. We can all fall victims to scams, and they're evolving. So if you have people, your friends, your family telling you, this looks a little bit like a scam, and listen to others.
Take a closer look.
Gut. Take a closer look, go back and reevaluate, take a step back. Because I think sometimes we get caught up in whatever it is that we're doing and the excitement of it and the prospect of, well, I'm going to get money, or I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do the other thing. And we just get caught up in it. So you got to take a step back, especially if other people you trust are telling you, hey, maybe you shouldn't do that. It's a little bit like a pyramid. No, it's, I love this office episode. Another regret people have is, I should have bought that earlier. This often comes with, when it comes to investing in homes, with home prices going up and not really showing a sign of going back down. But, there's that, man, if only I'd have bought my house 2 years earlier. Look, I'm as guilty of this as the next person. We did a presentation for one of our military housing communities virtually here, not last week. And the volunteer we had on there was telling them, about the VA home loans and things. I was like, you know what? We had him as a guest in like season 1 of our podcast, and I should have listened to him. I should have listened to him then, and I should have bought it. But you can't beat yourself up
Because you always think you can't afford it.
because you can't go back. You can't go back. You can't change it. And if you're sitting there waiting for things to go and get cheaper, they may never will. So take action, make the purchase if you can, or be ready for the next opportunity, whatever that may happen to be. So like Snoop says here, I stay ready so I don't have to get ready. If you're
When
always
interest rates
ready,
start to go back down again, which they will, it's just going to take a little time.
or home prices go down and you can then afford, depending on what part of the country you live in.
Right.
And you can't always time it though, because interest rates may not go down as fast as, as interest rates go down, home prices go back up, they stay just as unaffordable. So it's really a timing issue, but you're sitting there trying to time it, the housing market, the stock market, all that, you're just going to time yourself out. So if you're able to make that move, and it's a good financial decision, do it. And if not, be ready for when that opportunity does arise. I think this is one we've all found ourselves saying, I shouldn't have bought that. You go from like, I should have bought it earlier to shouldn't have bought it at all. If you can't pull the boat I couldn't pull a boat with my Honda Civic, just what apparently this guy was trying to do. I found this one hilarious. But if you can, return it. If you can't return it and it's just sitting there collecting dust, sell it. Maybe you sell it at a loss, but if it's not being used, you could turn that money around, help pay off the debt that you created from the purchase, and then don't do it again. And I know we're all going to buy something that we shouldn't have bought that from time to time again, but if you could return it, if that regret is immediate and go, maybe I'll just return that, turn back around and go give it back. If you can, and then just try and avoid those mistakes. Ask yourself, do I really need this? Or is it just something I want? Because we often find that if you start buying the wants, that's when you end up having that regret. So return it if you can. If it's past the return date, sell it, and make some of that money back and help pay off some of that debt that may have been caused for, or invest with it, or whatever it is you want to do with that money. Lending credit or money. There's so many times we hear, I lent money to my sibling, friend, neighbor, whatever it is. And that can just get into a very messy situation.
We hear this a lot.
You hear it a lot. And you're like, what do I do? You're in a tough spot. So as opposed to risking friendships and family connections and all that, maybe you just practice saying no and don't lend money if you can't afford to. We have a volunteer who always says, don't lend money you're not willing to lose. If just know that you're giving a friend or family money, that might be a gift, not a loan. And if you're willing to do that and that fits your finances, then do it. And if you get it back, you get it back. If you don't stress about it, or don't lend the money at all. So keep that in mind. Another one is co-signing. Just don't co-sign on people's loans, please. It's very dangerous. We hear it all the time. The story goes a little like this. I had a significant other. They were out car shopping. I went with them, driving them around. They found the perfect car. They were getting a perfect deal, but the numbers person came over and said, I'd love to sell you this car. Unfortunately, you don't have enough credit, or you don't make enough money. If only you had a co-signer. So they looked over at you, batted their eyelashes, and said, we're going to be together forever, right? You say, yes, I love you, co-signed, walk out of there. You saved the day, you're the hero. 6 months later, for whatever reason, you're no longer together. And they don't want the car because it reminds them of you. What are your options? Well, you don't have many good ones, right? You can ask them to refinance it, but they didn't get approved 6 months ago. They're mad at you, and they still might not get approved today. And why go through the trouble? They don't want the car. Ask them for the keys, you take it, you refinance it, hope you really liked it, or it's going to get repossessed. And the amount that it's sold off in auction minus fees or plus fees minus the amount that you owe goes on your credit report for the next 7 years. So you get a repo and that amount owed for 7 years on your credit report. Not a good situation. Maybe just avoid co-signing altogether. And you look over at that significant other and you say, maybe this is a sign that you should pick a vehicle that's better aligned with your current financial situation. That's good financial advice, bad dating advice, because you might get dumped at the car dealership, but your credit will be safe. If you do get dumped at the car dealership for that, please let me know on Twitter. I'd love to hear about it. So again, just don't do it. Don't lend your credit. Just say no, walk away. There's a big one. Unfortunately, we see it a lot as well. This next one, financial infidelity. So many times we sit with someone and you get one half of the couple looking over like, do we have to pull the credit? We don't have to. This is your choice. And one of them's like, yeah, just pull it all. And then come to find out you have how many credit cards? Yeah. You have how much credit card debt? We hear people like, oh, my fiance and I went to go buy something, realize their credit is really bad and they have a lot of debt. Financial infidelity is real, and it happens. We've just credit cards.
Relationships end because of it.
Yeah. And
stressful.
It's stressful. And it's always, like, maybe you didn't know about those credit cards. That's best way is come clean. Right. Tell the truth. If you've made the mistake already, first, if you haven't made the mistake, just don't make it. Be honest. Have that open line of communication. But if you've already made the mistake, come clean and tell the truth. Because you try and hide it, sometimes people just dig themselves even further. And eventually, it usually comes out. The truth will come out. Eventually, you go try and buy a house, a car, or whatever, and you can't because of that debt that you've been hiding, or that extra purchasing, or whatever the case may be. So come clean and tell the truth.
It will set you free, so to speak.
Yeah. Look, it's probably going to be an uncomfortable conversation.
Yeah.
But it's a conversation that you have to have, because you're going to have a worse conversation down the road if you don't. Too many student loans. Right now, people are not yet feeling you start to hear the news and, student loan payments may be coming back here. So, people are going to start feeling that student loan crunch, again, here soon. So if you're in school and you still haven't taken out as many student loans, or you're not there yet, look for scholarships, look for grants. There's so many scholarships that go unclaimed every single year because no one applied. And it's just a matter of, it looks like you're the only one who applied. Sometimes the ones that are harder to apply to are the easier ones to get because less people are applying to them. I remember when I was in college.
Where's the best place to look for that stuff?
Your school's financial aid office could be a really good place to start, because there may be some school specific, you have a smaller pool of students applying for. So go to your financial aid office, and they usually have a database that may have school specific scholarship opportunities. I volunteer on the finance committee for the San Diego Mesa College Foundation, and there are scholarships specifically for Mesa students. So that pool is a lot smaller than a general state or national pool of applicants. So you higher probability of winning. And if you already have the student loans, budget for them, get ready. Those payments start putting that money away right now, start making that payment per se, so that you can adjust your budget before the payment is due. And lastly, retail therapy. I think we've all done it. At least I know I have.
Oh yeah.
And it becomes a cycle. You don't feel great, whatever's got you down. I'm gonna go do some shopping. And we all have a little things that we like to buy, right? Whether it's coffee, technology, shoes, phones, watches. I know I have a few too many watches from when I used to buy watches. And and now I don't even wear a watch. But you go shopping, it makes you feel good. And then
It's short term.
it's short term because now you're stressing more about the money that you spent. And then
Right.
that causes a cycle where now I feel even worse. Well, I'm gonna go shopping again. Now you're further in debt, and you see how that can spiral out of the way. So ask yourself needs versus wants, and budget and stick to your budget. And this one's a special one. More importantly, are you an emotional spender? Well, I don't know. Join us in 2 weeks. Usually I wait for the pitch till after, but join us in 2 weeks because that's going to be the topic of our next swim live, is wondering if you're an emotional spender. I know I am. And I have to remember to keep that under control. But ask yourself, is this something I need or is this something I want? When you put things in the shopping cart or the little digital shopping cart, really want to ask that question to yourself. I always tell myself, I ever start wondering, should I brought my wife's car? Is all this going to fit in my car if I'm walking around Costco? It is time to check out and go home. If not, put some stuff back and then check out and go home. And that's it. Any questions? I'd be happy to take any questions that you may have, or any questions over on Facebook that anyone may have will be relayed over as well. If you here, in case you're typing a long question, we should call this segment like stump fill or something like that. I always like when I do a presentation and someone just stumps you with a new question. Like, ooh, I didn't.
It's a
I
good
don't
one.
know. I'll have to get back to you. All right, looks like we don't have any questions.
All
We
right.
can always continue learning. We have a podcast called Talk Wealth to Me. Get it on our website, wherever you get your other favorite podcasts. And of course, I mentioned it earlier. Join us for the next episode. Signs you're an emotional spender. In case you're just kind of on the fence, maybe I am, maybe I'm not. Join us and find out. And thank you everybody for joining. Check out all the previous swim lives on YouTube, on a website. And, as I mentioned, a couple of the slides will have a whole swim live presentation to go along with it that we've done in the past. So feel free to browse through those. Let us know what you think. Find us on social media and or shoot us an email, and happy to chat. Thank you everybody for joining, and hope you all have a great day.